all zones, to be clear, are mass shooting free zones, at least supposed to be.
Supposed to be, yes.
But these are actually gun free zones. The Wisconsin Madison shooting.
Yeah.
It's always terrible when you have to discuss another one of these. And I hate the fact that you need to discuss things like gun control, or people feel that it's politicized. Unfortunately, it's politicized before the bodies are even cold, right? That's what happens in today's world. So you have to push back against it. When only one side decides to politicize it and we remain silent, well, guess what? Then you end up with things like the assault weapons ban that we saw in the 90s and had no effect whatsoever. You end up with losing your rights. More importantly, this intimidation of bullying people into silence, this culture that we have. And it happens very often. It used to be more effective from the left on school shootings, anytime there was a mass shooting or an act of violence. We didn't see this, by the way, when we were dealing with the murder of the United Healthcare CEO.
No calls there.
No calls there. But we see it now. They want Second Amendment advocates, gun owners, to be bullied into silence. And here's the thing. Not only should you not be bullied into silence, you do have the moral high ground, because the defensive uses of firearms every year that take place in this country, not to mention the statistics on the law-abiding nature, the single most law-abiding, productive demographic of citizens that we know are gun owners, concealed carry permit holders, more so than off-duty officers, to be clear. You actually have the moral high ground, because you, even if you never actually have to engage, are the potential hero of your community. You are not a criminal, and you know it. And I want you to remember that, so that you're not intimidated. And something else, too, is when the left decides that certain shootings you won't know about and certain shootings you will know about, the agenda is dangerous, not because I just disagree with it, the gun control agenda, but because you see, for example, with Nashville, that was really kind of a crescendo after a groundswell that we have seen from the rhetoric of transgenocide, of mental health being an epidemic with young people, especially after COVID. They didn't want you to be aware of that. They want you to think white male is the mass shooter. White supremacy is our problem. That's our greatest domestic terror threat, as opposed to potentially down the line, what we could see as a massive threat to this country and Western civilization. People with no moral compass whatsoever. And if you remember Mug Club Undercover, they were the ones to uncover the first pages of the very much hidden Nashville Shooters Manifesto. We have for you today, exclusively here on Louder with Crowder, courtesy of Mug Club, first look at part of the handwritten manifesto of the Nashville shooter. Dark Abyss, Death Day, March 27th, 2023. Today is the day, yes. The day has finally come. I can't believe it's here. Don't know how I was able to get this far, but here I am. I'm a little nervous, but excited too. Been excited for these past 2 weeks. There were several times I could have been caught, especially back in the summer of 2021. None of that matters now. I'm almost an hour plus 7 minutes away. Can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm ready. I hope my victims aren't. My only fear is if anything goes wrong, I'll do my best to prevent any of the sort. God, let my wrath take over my anxiety. It might be 10 minutes tops. It might be 3 to 7. It's gonna go quick. I hope I have a high death count. Ready to die. Ha ha. Signed, Aiden. And of course, we found out that the motive there seemed to be in large part wanting to kill traditional Western Christian conservatives, patriarchy, all of that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of misinformation, though, going around right now. And I will say this. The good news is that on X, it was able to be refuted pretty quickly. And that's why there's value in allowing more voices, because you crowdsource intelligence, as opposed to having one person from the top down determining what is and what is not permissible to say, because then you end up with COVID, the Hunter Biden laptop story. Yeah. But it is a double-edged sword. There's been a lot of misinformation on both the left and the right regarding the shooting that had taken place yesterday in Madison, Wisconsin, at Abundant Life, a Christian school. And here, just to kind of, we have a clip, is the photo negative of the Six Flags guy.
Today, around 10:57 a.m., our officers were responding to a call of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School here in Madison. When officers arrived, they found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this deceased in the building. Additionally, the officers began administering life-saving efforts to anyone who was wounded and making sure that those persons were transported. What we know is that a total of about 7 persons were transported from this scene to area hospitals for treatment. We know that at least 3 people have lost their lives, including a juvenile person.
And, before we move on, it's just watching that clip, you see people basically with iPhones filming this. I remember when Andrew Breitbart would break stories back in the day, and you'd have journalists say, and this is the thing, it's just some guy some people with a cell phone, whether it's James O'Keefe or Andrew Breitbart. These aren't real journalists, and that's what we had to deal with the Nashville Manifesto. These people aren't real journalists. They're using the same, it just takes a few years' time when they adopt the technology. So you are a journalist, to be clear. You are someone who can you get to the truth? Do you have a thirst for the truth? Guess what? You can be a journalist. Okay, you don't need to go to school for it. Mm-hmm. As far as what we know right now, 2 people have been killed. 1 student, teenager, 1 teacher, 6 others were shot, taken to the hospital. 2 seem to, at the moment of this broadcast, remain in critical condition. A lot of myths out there, misinformation. Yeah. So all references available, link in the description. And comment below if you believed any of this, because I had some people send me notes where they believed some of these myths that were out there, largely from the right. Here's the first myth that we need to debunk, and we'll give you all the references, is that this shooter right now is a trans individual. This took over the internet, within minutes of the shooting. And the reality matters here. The truth does matter, because yes, there has been a disproportionate amount of violence coming from the trans community. And we were the ones who broke the Nashville Manifesto and the motive therein, or portions of it. But right now, this shooter was a 15-year-old girl, a student at this school, transferred into this school, I believe this last year, as a girl, and uses a pseudonym online, which is also feminine. There is no evidence that this person is a transgender individual. I just want to be clear about that, because the truth does matter, and you don't want to be treated as someone who is illegitimate and have your credibility blown because you decided to go along with the lie because some other people before you wanted some clicks. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, shout out to Andy No for getting the correct information out there. I think he was the first, among the first, if not the actual very first, to get it out there. So it's good to get the right information out. Thank you, Andy.
She looks like crazy Emma Watson.
Yes, she does.
Hermione Danger.
So does Emma Watson. She's looking increasingly crazy Emma Watson. But thank you, Andy. Sorry, Antifa punched you in the face. You didn't deserve that. That sucked. Milkshake. That was terrible. Guys out there laying it on the line, and of course the left hates him. Here's another myth that you see. So this one comes from the left, is that this shooter actually not only wasn't trans, this shooter was MAGA. So this is a popular anti-Trump account. Art Candy posted this, over 1 million views, saying, "Oh, the school shooter was a 17-year-old female racist. This tracks. Another vile MAGA. Did the parents give her a gun this time too?" And this is what the left does, right? They say, "Oh, fascism is an ideology of the right." That's not true. They say, "Oh, racism is inherently MAGA." That's not true. Several false premises that are being used here, to be clear. Here's the reality, the truth. The shooter definitely not MAGA. Not trans, definitely not MAGA. Yeah. Here's a Discord message that this shooter reportedly had written, and it basically a radical feminist. Some people call these women femcels. It's women who actively hate men. So this comes from the shooter. It says, "Women are the only hope for this wretched world. I realize the truth. Men are irredeemable. Radfem Hitler is fucking vindicated now. They can't be redeemed," meaning men. "They're a effing scourge upon the earth. The only solution is to total exterminate them and every foid who worships these effing parasites." To be clear, grammar spelling, not her strong suit.
Yeah, needed that. Some more schooling.
Yes, I would think so too. But Radfem Hitler is an anime Nazi X account that hates men. And just to be clear, I don't think that account needs to be removed. I don't want to be one of those people on the right, the Tipper Gore equivalent on the right. A lot of people don't remember it was Tipper Gore for the video game ratings, saying, "Oh, this person posts some ideology that radicalized someone. Oh, this person posts some memes, posts about their ideology," and this shooter took it, used it, warped it. I just want to be really, really clear about that. We also do have what appears to be the shooter's manifesto. It comes from the X account Slatzism, I think, from the shooter's boyfriend. Now, here's the thing. Apparently, the shooter posted this manifesto on Google Docs, but forgot to set it to public because there's nothing like perpetuating the original stereotype of an undisciplined, undetail-oriented young lady.
Retard alert!
Oh. Tell the world! Missed a step. You left it private. I guess no one will hear whatever the bullshit you're spewing.
That would be important.
Yeah,
step.
you would think.
Yeah.
You would think so. Don't tell me what to do, you parasite man. I'm just telling you, you gotta set it to public. Oh, really? Patriarchy. Fine. All right, just go. So, in this reported manifesto, this shooter obviously seems like the outcast type. Like, we don't have a very clear ideology beyond a radical feminist who hates men. But this does seem to be pretty in line with what we often see, someone who's been isolated. She complains about bullying, neglectful parents, an alcoholic father, obvious disdain for organized religion, overall hatred for humanity, also some admiration for some obscure European school shooters. Yeah. I know some of you are confused. Yeah, they have those in Europe too. I know you think that's a uniquely American thing. It's not.
They said that we don't, though. They said that this is the only country.
They said this is the only country. I come from Montreal, where we had 3. Just to be clear, like we almost invented the mass shooting when you look at École Polytechnique. She also took a selfie wearing a band T-shirt of KMFDM as looking like it's an homage to the Columbine killer. So this seems to be someone who is obviously not trans individual, obviously not MAGA, hates men. Young woman who hates men. And that seems to be the motive at this point in time, unless anyone thinks it.
Frustrated at parents, hates men, dad's an alcoholic. Like, there's some stuff there,
which may or may not be true. By the way.
But that's what's being said right now, right? So I don't want to, say that that's absolutely true right now. But none of that ideology, like, you can't look at any of that list and go MAGA. And people immediately ran to trans guys. Come on.
Looked like there was some suicidal stuff in there too.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to commit suicide. I want to take out as many as I can before I go.
Yeah.
And who's this boyfriend? I mean, is that an accessory to murder, or what? Like, what's?
Well, people are telling me. I think that the boyfriend only received this after the act had been committed. Yeah. As far as what I understand, but again, I'm sure there will be an investigation.
Is it an ex-boyfriend? Is it a real boyfriend? She hated men, so why was she dating somebody? Like, there's still a lot of unanswered questions on that side of it for me. So,
and if more of the political ideology is peeled back, more layers are peeled off, and it doesn't suit the left's narrative, you won't hear about it. Just like Vegas, just like Nashville, it will require crowdsourcing the intelligence here, the investigation. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Yeah. That's why you don't trust your institutions, and rightfully so. If the shooting fits a narrative, you will hear about it everywhere. If it doesn't, they'll have some gun control stuff that they'll talk about for a while, and then it'll kind of fade, and they'll wait for the next one.
Yeah, they're already not covering it on CNN.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that tells you the way that it's probably going. That's a pretty good indicator as to the motive, or it's a good indicator as to there not being the white supremacist motive. Because
they
if that
had
was
it
the case
earlier a little bit, so we'll see how long it stays in the news cycle.
Well, here's another myth that you are seeing right now is this was on X. I think you have the overlay, and it's been circulated again. This shooting. There's a list, and it says all AR-15s, right? And some people then falsely added this current Madison shooting to it. Here's the truth. The reality, the shooter used a handgun.
Anna, what other additional information do we know about what happened?
Well, we've just learned that the suspect likely used a 9mm pistol, that was the weapon that was used.
And just to be clear, we'll get through some of the biggest gun myths, but in 2016, handguns killed about 19 times the amount of people as all rifles put together. When it comes to mass shootings, handguns are used 80% of the time. So just understand that this is going to be used there.
Yeah.
This is something that you are going to hear from the left. Look, let me give you 3 key facts here. And over Christmas, over the break, or Hanukkah, or whatever it is, Ramadan, I don't know if that's right now.
No.
Kwanzaa's not real.
No, it's real.
Kwanzaa's not real.
Maybe go and subscribe to wherever you get your audio podcast, 3 and 3. We did one on gun control, okay? We did one before, and it's important to note that there are a few key facts. You know what, let me deliver it here at the end, but it's basically where mass shootings take place, the kinds of guns used, and the defensive uses of firearms every single year, okay? We'll get through all those facts. It's about 500,000 to 3 million every single year, defensive uses of firearms.
Yeah.
Okay? Handguns are used in 80% of mass shootings, and we cover all of that in that 3 and 3, specifically on gun violence. Here's another myth that you're going to hear from the left right now. They pivot right away to, this could have been stopped by gun control. So we need new forms of gun control now. Former Vice President Biden released this statement. My administration has taken aggressive action to combat the gun violence epidemic, not with his son.
No.
We passed the most significant gun safety legislation in nearly 30 years. But more is needed. Congress must pass common sense gun safety laws, universal background checks, a national red flag law, ban on assault weapons, and high-capacity magazines. Okay, a couple of things. There are universal background checks. National red flag law is really one of those laws where you can report your neighbors because they take a Xanax. Ban on assault weapons. They tried it. It didn't work. It's entirely subjective. For example, this is not an assault weapon. Pistol grip makes it an assault weapon. It's stupid. It's just designed to limit your ability to own firearms. High-capacity magazines, well, they've done that in states like California. Hasn't worked. Hasn't worked. Also note there was no call for gun control after the shooting of the CEO.
I couldn't believe that, by the way, with everything that was set up there. It was in New York. What people
were a city where handguns are illegal.
Guns or printing. Yeah, exactly. Like it had a silencer on it. I know they hate silencers. Like everything lined up for them to call for that.
Well, not really, because it did show that their gun laws didn't friggin' work.
No, that's true. I mean, I would say that they
no handguns. Well, here's one.
It has to be more strict. We have to just get rid of them altogether. But listen, I swore internally just a minute ago when I was reading Biden's text. Every single time that this happens, the left comes out with the same thing. We need to do stuff, and then they make a list of things that would not effing change a thing. Every single time. More control, more control, more control. That's what we want. And things that are listed are things that would not have changed this at all. Not one bit.
Yep.
I'm tired of that crap. When the right says thoughts and prayers, they mean it. They mean they're praying like I was on the way to frickin' work today for the families that don't have a kid showing up at Christmas this year.
Yep.
That's what we mean by that. When you send this out, it's like, I want to look like I'm a part of the team, that I hate guns too, just like all of you. And I want to recommend things that aren't going to change anything in American society. And I'm going to do it every single time.
Yeah.
Because I want votes.
And it's designed to vilify you. All you offer is thoughts and prayers. Well, all you offer is to disarm a citizenry and put them at greater risk of gun violence.
I'm not going to stop praying. So
yeah, is it prayer shaming now? Is that a thing? Prayer shaming? Yeah. Prayer shaming? Oh, it's useless. Really? Okay. What are you doing? Oh, calling for gun control. Okay, that's right. And by the way, none of those things would have stopped this shooting. According to the manifesto of this shooter, this person duped her father into getting the guns. Says, nobody knows I'm doing this. I got the weapons by lies and manipulation and my father's stupidity. And again, that's a reflection of an ideology, which we see with radical feminists. Yeah. The ends justify the means. Your skill is lying and manipulating. But if you say that women are often more manipulative than men because that's how they can get things done through ulterior motives, to be clear, like men can get it done through violence, which is also wrong. Women often have to get these things done if they have motives that are less than pure. They have to use manipulation. They have to use lies. And she believes that her father is stupid because all men are stupid.
And her dad was, by her account, drunk.
That's what she says.
Yeah.
That's what she says. But she also could be manipulating the public right now by saying that to try and put the blame on her father, as opposed to the fact that she was radicalized by a bunch of other feminists who hate men out there. This is a reflection of what you are seeing in the dating sphere right now. You know, there's the red pill sphere, the manosphere, and then there's the feminists. And I don't know that it's reparable. I really don't. You're just going to see more and more young men checking out of the dating pool and not marrying, and you're going to see more and more women getting into their mid and late 30s with their biological window closing, wondering where all the good men went to. And that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing a woman who hates men. If a man were to carry out a mass shooting right now, a white male, it would be all about white males, vilifying white males. When a girl does this, they first try to vilify her as influenced by white male MAGA ideology. Also, by the way, lifting weights is white male patriarchy, as we've heard. So is the nuclear family, according to Black Lives Matter. And when that doesn't work, then it becomes, oh, how did we fail this young woman? If you're a man, you're vilified. If you're a young woman, you're misunderstood. And you can't have one side, just like we talked about with Phillips. What was her name? Lily Phillips. Mm-hmm. People are asking for the jailing of the men who are answering a casting call. Hold on a second. There needs to be accountability on both sides. That's where we need to have accountability right here. And this is a woman who hates men, who wants to blame men and believes that they are justified in manipulating and lying to men. Why? Because all men bad. And that's misandry of the highest order. We should be discussing that. You do have an entire generation of people, especially in public schools, who have been raised to hate an entire demographic of people. And I'm not saying it's the plight of the white male. That's not what I'm saying, but here's the good news for a lot of white males out there. They can just check out. They don't need to date. They don't need to get married. You know what else they don't? They don't need to open doors. They don't need to be gentlemanly. They don't need to protect their fellow citizen. They don't need to lay their lives on the line for women who are not worth dying for. And you're going to see more of that. Is that the society that you want to live in? Because I'll tell you what, you need those guys. You need everyone. Only one group is saying, we need some people and not other people. That's the left, saying we need this oppressed class, but this class needs to admit their privilege and guilt and apologize. I'm saying we need everyone. We need white women. We need white men. We need black women, black men. We need Latino women, Latino men. We need Asian women. We need everybody. We're not excluding one demographic. This is a manifestation of someone who has been not only justified, but coached into vilifying one demographic. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Do you have any proof that white men are actually being conditioned into hating, meaning in college, in high school, through media? We're white guys here. I know it's not lost on me, just a bunch of white guys with an opinion. I don't know if you know this, but most guys in this country are white. Give me an example where we would be conditioned through our institutions to hate a group of people or to justify mistreatment of them. I'm not talking about individual sects or neo-Nazis or the Westboro Baptist Church where there's 12 members, including like 6 with flippers. I'm talking about actually institutionalized discrimination. Where's the white male equivalent of affirmative action? Mm-hmm. And let me give you some statistics. You already heard me on the one before. When we're talking about these shootings, and this is where you can go and listen to the 3 and 3 podcast. It's designed to give you 3 key facts on any topic that is referenced, so you can get it in 3 minutes or less. Okay? 94% of all mass shootings since 1950 have occurred in gun-free zones. All right? So if you think the gun laws work, 94% of mass shootings have taken place in, first off, all zones, to be clear, are mass shooting-free zones, at least supposed to be.
Supposed to be, yes.
But these are actually gun-free zones.
Almost seems like causation.
80% of these mass shootings are carried out with handguns, not with AR-15s. And according to every stat we have available to us, there are over, when people say if it saves one life, well, over 500,000 to 3 million defensive uses of firearms every single year. Yep. And I would bet disproportionately used by women or the disabled, people who need a mechanical advantage over marauding monsters. Those are 3 key facts. 94% gun-free zones, 80% handguns, not rifles, 16 times or 19 times more damage inflicted deaths at the hands of handguns than at rifles. And what was the last one?
Defensive uses.
Defensive uses, 500,000 to 3 million.
Yep.
Well, if it saves one life, well, it saves 500,000 to 3 million every year. Why don't you care about those people?
Yeah.
So we're going to be obviously staying on top of this. Again, what's sad is it'll go away if the shooter isn't of the right ideological motive, and that's why you don't trust your institutions, and I don't blame you one bit.
It sucks because we got to study this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and
there's a scientific link to things, and we need to know.
Yeah.
Even if it's the opposite way, even if it's just, straight white guys are the ones who do it. Well, let's see the science about it. Let's see if we can prevent this.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Also, by the way, in case, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to talk about this Discord thing because this is something that is incredibly important that came up. There was a reference to Discord with this person. This is, by the way, just remember, we covered Chippewa Falls where there was a potential shooter.
Second
potential shooter. When we were going through the process, we had a lot of conversations behind the scenes with information that didn't necessarily all come out because we were looking into it. But this set off alarm bells for me. This is 150 miles plus or minus from Chippewa Falls. Mm-hmm. Okay, so very close. There's a possibility of a social epidemic kind of brewing in Wisconsin right now. And Discord was a common thread that I saw where people are being radicalized on Discord. Now, I'm not saying Discord is any worse than maybe any of the other sites out there. What I'm saying right now is that if you are a parent that has a child on Discord, you must absolutely 100% know what is going on. That's all social media as well. But right now, there is a very specific threat on Discord. We talked about the shooters being in a Discord channel that was kind of venerating the Columbine shooters and promoting kind of these school shootings and kind of making hype videos and all of these different things that were going on right now. And there is somebody right now radicalizing people, radicalizing young kids. We were talking about somebody who was in middle school. Yep. Right, up in Chippewa Falls. This is not some high schooler that has done some research. This is somebody who was not even close to being alive when these people did this at Columbine, right? So parents out there, make sure that you understand what is happening, especially if you're a Wisconsin parent right now. Find out if your kids are on Discord. If they are, make sure that you know what's going on because they're being radicalized by somebody who is venerating these kinds of shooters.
And I will take it one step further. I will say that, Discord is an environment that is more conducive to radicalizing. Let me tell you why. which fan-created Discord was removed? This one.
Yeah.
Same thing on Reddit. So on Reddit, fans, and by the way, you can go and check the Discord of for this show of the Mug Club people, and same thing on Reddit. It was overwhelmingly friendly. It's not going to radicalize anybody. In other words, Discord said that this very segment right here, this kind of content is impermissible. If that is not allowed on your platform, but the kinds of dialogue that you see here, and we saw in Chippewa Falls are, do you think it creates a more dangerous echo chamber? Go to Reddit politics and just look at the gleeful celebration in the murder of the CEO in United Healthcare. Just look at the hatred that you see. And so, when they say this right here, what you are seeing right here, basic bitch, pumpkin spice, Christian conservatives, that this is radicalizing and it is removed, you now have created a silo where people can hear radical feminism, where people can hear radical gender ideology, where people can hear radical gun control advocacy, where people can hear radical socialism, Marxism, but can't hear this? Yeah, you know what? We don't have the data to support it. I'm just giving you the anecdote, but I know a lot of conservatives out there who have either been removed from Discord, certainly on Reddit, and entire channels have been taken off of their server. What kind of an environment do you think you're going to create? And then you have the New York Times, I believe, where they write, they wrote an entire article, the radicalization that takes place on YouTube. And they had an image of Philip DeFranco.
Jeez.
You may disagree with but you think that anything we say here is going to radicalize people into shooting their fellow American? Might radicalize people into protecting their family and their fellow American from those willing to do violence. This is not allowed in places like Discord. This is not allowed, by the way, also expand YouTube. This is not allowed to be monetized. The kind of stuff that did influence this young girl is, and it's advertiser friendly. And then they want to bitch about you being in an echo chamber. They want to ban Rumble, to be clear. We just got I don't know if I can talk about a tip as it relates to Rumble, but I'll need to. We have something going on there that comes straight from the government. And by the way, this is like you just mentioned, there was this other shooter in Chippewa Falls, right? This shooter in Chippewa Falls also showed admiration for the Columbine shooters. And keep in mind, in Chippewa Falls, the real problem, the reason we were exposing this, is there were still active threats, potentially, and parents had to pull their child from school because nothing was done about it. Yeah. So the obfuscation, right, the lack of transparency is what makes parents concerned. What do you think is more concerning, this show, or take Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, for crying out loud, take Mike Lindell of My Perfect Pillow? You think that's more of a concern than school boards actively hiding information from parents? Because that's the system, and I mean our public education system that exists, and why people are going to homeschooling in record numbers. We have a clip of that Chippewa Falls story. This person continues on with a new paragraph titled Thoughts. It explains how they hate girls who objectify themselves. Redacted writes about how they are taking inspiration from the Columbine shooting. This will be the next Columbine. I will kill the most people I can by using explosives that I will make myself. All the problems that I face will be worth it after I kill all the fucking jocks and all those fucking preppy headed fucking girls who need to die, and they will go burn in hell. On the next page, this person talks about they are searching for the Dylan to their Eric, and again, who they are targeting.
Yeah.
You did a great job when you went and you spoke to the parents there.
Well, no, I appreciate it. It was a big, heavy story. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, if you're still watching this, congratulations. It's been free this whole time. Consider hitting the notification bell or watching one of these videos for more like-minded content. I don't know when this is airing, when you're watching this. It could be in the future after Skynet has fallen. If it's 3 years from me filming, it's definitely fallen.